Morning, everyone. Welcome to Ask a Coach a Question. I'm your host, Sean Butner, certified high performance coach. And this is a weekly Friday show where we help you figure out things that you're trying to go after or struggles in your life so you can get forward, some forward momentum and forward progress in advancing those things. Now, today I got a couple of really awesome questions submitted by you folks. And just so you guys know, that at any time you can go to seanbutler.com/ask to submit your questions or just message me or comment below wherever you're watching this video. And also, that said, please do the social media thing and share this with a couple of your friends or anyone that might be struggling with some of the topics that we're talking about today or could benefit from it. And so the two questions we have for today are: number one, what are the ingredients for being a great leader in all areas of life? Submitted by Christopher White. So awesome question. So we'll get to that. And then, how can I overcome thoughts of fear and failure when I do something I've never done before? So I get this question a lot as a coach. So we'll talk through that again. So first off, okay, I love this question on what are the ingredients for being a great leader in all areas of life. And as someone that's operated in large corporations, as someone that has, set up events, does this, I think this is a little bit of a leadership thing. I think, when it comes down to the components, I'm shaped a little bit about what I've learned at Walmart corporate, a little bit about what I learned at Apple, and then some general concepts that high performance coaching has kind of helped get me clear on, right? But I think the number one rule for leadership that most people miss is that people follow what they create. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you imagine at work, you have an idea for a project, right? And you propose that idea and you just force everyone else to do it, right? So you're doing a little bit of coercive authority versus you have an idea, your teammates collaborate and you're like, I love this. This might not work, but we could do it this way, so that people are co-creating with you, right? So at the end, you might not implement your idea exactly for a project, but with everyone else's buy-in, everyone's going to be motivated to see it succeed because they have a little bit of skin in the game, right? It's the same for in your family, right? It doesn't, everyone is leading in their family, whether they believe it or not. And what energy are you leading with? How are you setting and creating situations for the kids to participate in the maintenance of the house or the fun things that you get, the vacations that you guys are doing, or how are you co-creating date night experiences with your partner? It's if it's always somebody pushing their idea and agenda, that's when you feel people kind of get disengaged, right? It doesn't really feel good if you've ever been in the situation of someone saying, hey, we're going to this restaurant, and I know you don't like seafood, and it's a seafood restaurant, but that's where I want to go, so that's what's happening, right? That usually does not fly. So this idea of how do we co-create, right? And Walmart was really great at this, and Apple too. So they both had different focuses, right? Walmart was customer focused. Anything that was good for the customer was a good idea, and they had that, since that focus existed, that purpose of helping the customers, we really, when it came to proposing an idea, if you came at it with that angle, you had to have the ego get out of the way because either it does or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, we're not going to deal with it, right? And so that's how the decision making and the consensus building in that organization really helped. And at Apple, the focus was on how do we build the best product, right? And whether that's an internal tool, whether that's one of the things on the iPhone or any of one of their technologies. And so you could have heated arguments about what was going to be good for the product, but with that focus, again, the ego was supposed to get out of the way. And if it ultimately wasn't a good experience for the product, it didn't get in, right? So how can you apply this to your life, right? That's the $100 million question: is how can you, one, co-create with the people that you're trying to lead at work, in your community organizations, in your family, your friends, all that kind of stuff. And then how can you kind of make sure that you're communicating the purpose of each group, so that if the family, it's to like love each other, right? That's the number one thing. We got to make sure that through thick and thin that we love each other. How are you co-creating that experience with everyone in the family, right? Hey, Brittany, what's going on? And then, so that's kind of the basics on basic premise on leadership I think most people miss. There's a bunch of awesome books. I can't remember who the author of the original one was, but there's a book called Servant Leadership that I think is really, really helpful. And then also, the role of the leader is to not dictate, but to kind of get out of the way and problem solve for folks. So I love that book. So I recommend you check that out. Okay, on to question number 2. How can I overcome thoughts of fear and failure when I do something I've never done before? And I think this is an experience so many people have had before. I know I have, and really, like, we talk about how to deal with fear in the high performance stuff all the time, and the first thought that comes to mind with this is you miss 100% of the shots you never take. So your chance of failure if you don't do anything is 100%. You're not going to succeed at that big idea that you have if you don't put forth the effort and try, right? But so you get past that and you say, okay, I got to try, but I still am afraid I'm going to fail. I'm still afraid that I'm going to be judged. I'm still afraid that, afraid. And we always talk about the 3 different types of fear in high performance, right? In the coaching work I do. And, the fear of loss, that if I start this new thing, right, I'm going to lose out at something that I really love. So if I start the new diet, I'm going to lose out on eating delicious pizza, which is my favorite food, or cookies or whatever. If I start this thing, I'm going to lose time with family and friends because it's going to take a ton of time. And failure is such a frame of mind. You are attached with the outcome. That's the second fear, Brittany. You're right on it. Second is outcome fear, right? That either we fear that the outcome's not going to be as rosy as we want, or it's not going to be as awesome as it is in our mind, right? So, like training for a marathon, it's the metaphor I use all the time. Like, you don't see crossing that finish line after 26.2 miles as being something that you're proud of, as being worth all the effort, the pain, the toil, the sweat, the blood. Hopefully not the blood, but sometimes that happens too in marathons. Getting across that is not going to be as great. The third type of fear is the process fear, right? That it's going to be hard as you do it. So if you're starting something new, and sometimes people don't like uncertainty, right? Probably understated right there. But when you don't like uncertainty and you have to figure things out on the fly, you can doubt yourself. You can say, maybe I'm not enough to do this. Maybe my mission's not strong enough. My vision isn't clear enough. And we can get caught up in how tough it is to figure things out. And then each one of these types of fear, you have to remind yourself that, maybe number one, like worst case scenario, you're probably not going to die. We activate that same part of the brain where it's that fight or flight sometimes. So knowing, unless the fear is like a lion is chasing you, like that's legit, like be alarmed, avoid that giant cat. But, if it's not, like, what's the worst case? Like, okay, the idea doesn't work out, but I learn. And now I have more experience. Now I have more insight. Now I have a clearer vision of what doesn't work to know what does work. Also, like, focusing on the purpose, the mission, what you gain from this new endeavor. Like, the person that submitted this question was wanting to start homeless shelters, which is an amazing, such a heart-filled thing, right? And to honor that your heart is calling you to do something amazing, right? As to, help people out in that way. You trust in that. Don't doubt that. And know that, with a strong mission like that, you will have people that will cheer you on. You will have people that will encourage you. You'll have people that want you to succeed. So it's such an important thing to just think of, like, the good you're putting in the world. Like, if you ever doubt yourself, if you ever have that fear, double down on the good you're putting out in the world. Because, one, we need it, But two, don't underestimate how powerful what you do for good is. So I hope you enjoy this video. I love doing these. Again, you could go to seanbutler.com/ask to submit your questions, or just direct message me or reply or comment below these videos. We'll do this again next Friday, ask a coach a question, and then we have our normal start your day with a coach, Monday through Thursday at the same time, same bat place. So with that all, really great to see you, Brittany. So glad you're here. And everyone else out there, so glad you're here too. Everyone else watching. Go out there, live with more joy, more personal growth, and more impact in your communities. And I'll see you guys next week.